Hi everyone, it's Josh here from Cairns 50 and Smurf Endurance Sports with your athlete briefing for the 2026 event. Firstly, we're going to talk weather because that's probably the thing that's been on most people's mind recently with some adverse weather conditions in far north Queensland. I can very happily say at this point in time on Tuesday afternoon that things are looking very good for the weekend. However, hot and humid. So there's very little rain predicted between now and Saturday and Sunday. Probably a light shower on Sunday, otherwise looking like fine conditions. Minimums in the low 20s, maximums in around 32 to 31 degrees. So all going well. The weekend event will run as per schedule, as per plan. So at the moment, Cairns Council is working on making sure that Glenoma Park is mowed. Depending on what the weather is like and how quickly it drains, and it does drain quickly. They'll probably get that done in the next couple of days. And then the path itself will be cleaned before the weekend, any debris removed, and they'll be putting in some contingencies at the bridge just after the rocks, which did have some damage with some flooding a couple of weeks ago. But the good news is everything will run as planned at this point in time. The only other possible change is that the Brinsmead Park Reserve car park that we usually build may not happen if it is too wet and we aren't allowed to use that as a car park. Our secondary car park is up at Freshwater Christian College. Reminder, there is no parking at Glenoma Park at all for attendees. And please do not park along that main road, the Western Arterial near Glenoma Park. It is just too dangerous. I'm going to talk you through some of the key things for this weekend as quickly as I possibly can, but make sure that you read this document. I've had a lot of questions in the last fortnight that would have been answered very easily if people read the document, so please do so and then listen to this briefing. It is mandatory for you to do so prior to participating this weekend. The schedule is there. Check the schedule. Check in Friday afternoon between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. at the Good Run, 116 Lake Street under Bailey Crystalbrook. And then there's also check-in on the Saturday afternoon during the Family Fun Day, 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. If you can't do check-in Friday or Saturday afternoons, then you can check in Sunday morning prior to your race. But please, we prefer you to do so on Friday and Saturday because it saves our team on Sunday morning a lot of panic and anxiety and work. If you've pre-booked your bus, the bus is no longer running on the Saturday afternoon because we haven't had anyone booked, but Sunday morning, the buses are almost full, particularly the first bus. So please check that if you want to book a spot and do so as soon as possible. Once it's full, it's full. And then the bus will run for the remainder of the day back into Cairns whenever you need to get your lift back. Check what time your race starts, check what time your race brief starts, and make sure that you are there on time. Race pack collection, we talked about that, where that is, when that is, and there is opportunity for signing up for events on Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon. We won't be taking entries on Sunday morning, but you can enter any of our events Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, particularly the kids events or the Fast 5K, which is looking like it's going to be a very fast race this weekend. If you bought merchandise, it will be available there as well. And there's going to be other merchandise and things for you to purchase over the weekend at the at check-in as well. Parking, I already spoke about parking. In the shuttle buses, please don't try and park at Glenoma Park. Please don't park along the Western Arterial. We have parking available at Brinsmead Park Reserve and up at Freshwater Christian College. The event precinct itself, so we will have a bag drop. You drop bags there at your own risk. The first aid will be there Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning by the first aid team. There'll be some dairy whip will be there on Saturday afternoon, coffee van on Sunday morning. And then if you want to put up a club tent, please get in touch with me and you can put up a club tent along that finish line, of course. And then there's a range of toilets available in the event precinct. Please note it though, however, Smoke and Steel will no longer be there on Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning. They are no longer available. The event precinct map, so you can see where you need to go over the weekend. As I said, there's only emergency access and only disabled parking in Glenoma Park itself. Pulse Nutrition is on course this weekend. It will be your the electrolyte and carbohydrate drink on course. It is their new watermelon flavor. Then also at the expo, the Good Run will be there selling products, any last minute nutrition, nerd belts, etc. And then Pulse will be there as well. Then the kids' activities on the Saturday afternoon, heaps of fun things happening. The jumping castles, face painting, mini golf, and then roaming wild with their animals will be there too. So the kids are going to love that. So this is the virtual race briefing. We're going to talk through a couple other bits and pieces, but the pre-race briefing just before the event and the 10 minutes before, make sure that you are there ready to go for that as well. Make sure that you read through the race rules. The only couple of things that I'll highlight here, headphones. So the paths are open to the public. There's people out there with dogs. There's people out there on bikes. We also have lead bikes out there. We have over 500 participants this weekend. So headphones, you are only allowed to have bone conduction headphones or single earbuds so that you can hear your surroundings and be aware of your surroundings. Do not use your phone or other devices when you're out there, including filming and whatnot. It just becomes a distraction, becomes dangerous. So please don't be doing that. Prams are allowed out there for the 1, 2K, 5K, and 10K events, but just be aware there is some grass section through the event precinct. The only other thing that I'll mention too there in that space is aid stations. Please make sure that you drop your litter in the aid stations or carry it with you. The aid stations are cupless. It is mandatory in the mandatory in the 30K and 50K for you to have a hydration solution, whether it's a vest, a belt, a soft flask, and everyone in the 30 and 50K receives a soft flask this weekend. You must carry something with you there. We are cupless. The 10K, some of you will be okay. However, some of you will also need to make sure that you carry something on that 10K course. Then, if anything happens and you need to withdraw, please let a staff member know as soon as possible. Let us know at the finish tent or in the control tent so we can make sure that you are safe. Mandatory gear, we just talked about that being cupless. Otherwise, nothing. Oh, the only other thing for those in the 50K, you need to make sure that you have a headlamp for that first half an hour or so. So it is dark when you start at 5:30. You must have a head torch, or it can be a waist belt torch or some other kind of torch. That is fine. It is especially dark through the rainforest sections, and then you will have a space to drop your head torch or whatever torch you have at the Rocks Aid Station if you choose to do so. Otherwise, you can carry it yourself for the remainder of your run. And then first aid, heaps of first aid out there. The other thing that's worth noting this weekend in terms of wildlife is mosquitoes. With all the rain that we've had, you may need to make sure that you bring some mozzie repellent down for the weekend. The course maps are there. Make sure you check the course maps. However, the courses are very well marked. We have never lost anyone out there on the course. But make sure that you double check that course map. Most importantly, check how many laps you need to do. 30K, you're doing 2 laps. 50K, you're doing 3 laps. 10K is 2 laps. Same for the 5K, the 1K, and the 2K. They are all 2 laps as well. And then in the start-finish area, we'll have marshals to direct you around where you need to go, whether it's on your next lap or into the finish chute. But be aware of how many laps you need to have. The aid stations. So for the 10K, there is one aid station at near Goombura Park. It will have Pulse Endurance Fuel, the watermelon flavor, water, fruit, lollies. And then the other 2 aid stations, so 50K and 30K, you'll have 3 aid stations every lap. That's 6 times over the duration of your lap that you go past an aid station. They will also have the Pulse Endurance Fuel, watermelon flavor, water, fruit, lollies, and they will also have cola and chips out at the Rocks and the Mary Parker drive aid stations. For the Fast 5 and the kids events, there will be 1 water point at the turnaround. Remember, they are cupless aid stations. That's just the direction of the aid station. You can check that. And then for those that are doing the 50K, and this is the 50K only, personal needs, we will have a personal needs aid station in the event precinct, which you can see the arrow there on the screen. In the morning on Sunday, when you come to the event, drop off any personal needs. We'll have a bin there for you to drop it off at, and then we will place it at a table at the personal needs aid station, and we have a marshal there to help you grab what you need. It is only for 50K runners. If you have someone that wants to help you at that aid station in the 50K, that is the only spot on course that you can have some outside assistance. Otherwise, if you're in the 10K, the 30K, no outside assistance, no dropping things at other aid stations. You must do it all solo. Toilets, there is toilets at the Rocks, there is toilets at the event precinct, and then there is also a toilet off the course at Goombura Park. That's probably the only time that you need to leave the path if you need to get to the toilets at Goombura Park. And then results, timing wizards are here doing our results and our timing again this weekend. So you will be able to track that live for anyone playing at home. We'll distribute that link as soon as we can. And then wellness and body will be in our recovery area again. So there'll be some fruit and some drink. Pulse nutrition will be in the recovery area there too. There'll be massage, ice baths, and that sort of thing. Presentations. This year we are at Pachamama, which is upstairs at Crystal Brook. You get there by going to Bailey Crystal Brook and then up the lift. Everyone is welcome. Kids, families, friends. If you raced, come along. If you race and your family's there, bring them along as well. We'll do our presentations that evening. So for Cairns 50, 30, and 10K, first, second, and third. And for the Fast Five, the prize money will probably actually give out those on the Saturday afternoon. So remember, the Fast Five, we have prize money paying down to fifth place for both men and women. And then there'll be heaps of food available there at Pachamama's, heaps of like tacos and some chips and bits and pieces. They're going to extend their margarita happy hour, an extra hour for us as well. So that would be great. Come along for that one, please. We have 2 event photographers out there this weekend. We'll release those photos as soon as we can via a link. We'll send that out after the event. And then the weather and wildlife. We've talked about the weather. We've talked about mosquitoes. And then there's nothing in terms of wildlife for you to be concerned about. However, the other thing I'll say in this space, often after the event, people will jump into Freshwater Creek for a swim. There is heaps of water flowing down there. My advice is to avoid Freshwater Creek and do not swim in there afterwards. There's ice baths from Wellness and Body to use instead. It is just not safe. So if you do so, it's at your own risk. However, I highly suggest that you don't. And finally, a big thank you to our event team, our volunteers, and everyone that's going to be there over the weekend helping out. We are seeking just a final few volunteers to help out Friday afternoon at check-in, Saturday morning bump in, and then some rolls on Sunday. So if you or anyone else you know can help out, please get in touch as soon as possible. Otherwise, we will see you over the weekend. Thanks.